Hello everyone, my name is NCMackey, and for my personal inquiry project, I will be going over Module 4, which includes the spill prevention, control, and countermeasure rules, along with the facility response plan. The objectives of today's presentation will go over the oil pollution regulation, what is the spill prevention, control, and countermeasure rule, who does the spill prevention, control, and countermeasure rule apply to, the types of spill prevention, control, and countermeasure rule plans, along with what is included in the spill prevention, control, and countermeasure plan. We will also go over what is a facility response plan, who is required to keep a facility response plan, the types of facility response plans, and what is included in the facility response plan. The Oil Pollution Prevention Regulation can be found in the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 40, Part 112. It is issued by the EPA to prevent oil spills and assure that facility personnel are prepared to respond if a spill occurs. The regulation has two sets of requirements, those that we will be going over today. The Spill Prevention, Control, and Countermeasure Rule, which focuses on the prevention, preparedness, and response to oil spills, along with the Facility Response Plan, which is designed to make sure that certain facilities have adequate response capabilities should an oil spill occur. The Spill Prevention, Control, and Countermeasure Rule was originally published in 1973 under the Clean Water Act. Since then, it's been amended many times. It was designed to protect public health and the environment. The purpose of the regulation is to prevent, prepare, and respond to oil spills that are a result of an operational or human error. Plans ensure that facilities put in place containment, controls, and countermeasures that will prevent oil spills from their containers and ensure that facilities have the proper procedures and equipment in place should a spill occur. Facilities that are in compliance often have less of a chance of a spill to occur, and also companies that are in compliance face less cost associated with cleanup should a spill occur. The opposite is also true. Facilities not in compliance face a greater risk for a spill to occur and will also incur a higher cost of cleanup services should that same spill occur. Who does the SPCC rule apply to? SPCC requirements, according to the EPA, apply to non-transportation fixed facilities that could reasonably be expected to discharge oil into or upon the navigable waters of the United States or to adjoining shorelines of other countries. Those facilities include those who drill for oil, produce oil, store oil, transfer and distribute oil, use or consume oil. This also includes animal fats and vegetable oils. It applies to facilities that has a total amount of above ground storage containers more than 1,320 gallons, so the aggregate has to be above 1,320 gallons, and must include containers that are greater than 55 gallons. Any container less than 55 gallons is not included in the total aggregate of 1,320. It also applies to facilities who has a total amount of below ground storage containers to hold more than 42,000 gallons, once again not including containers that hold less than 55 gallons. There are three types of SPCC plans. The first type of plan is a self-certified Tier 1 plan. This includes small facilities with a small amount of oil. To be able to have a self-certified Tier 1 plan, you must have at least 1,320 gallons of oil on site, only in containers of 55 gallons or more. You cannot have more than 10,000 gallons of oil on site, no tanks larger than 5,000 gallons, and no discharges to navigable waters in the last 3 years. Also, no discharges of over 1,000 gallons or 2 discharges each of 42 gallons over the last 12 months. This does not include releases that are due to acts of war, natural disaster, or terrorism. The second type of plan is a self-certified Tier 2 plan. This is for your small to medium facilities. For this to apply to you, you must have at least 1,320 gallons of oil on site. Once again, only in containers over 55 gallons count. You cannot have more than 10,000 gallons of oil on site. And the difference here between the Tier 1 and the Tier 2 plan is that you have at least one tank that is equal to or larger than 5,000 gallons. The facility may not have any discharges to navigable waters in the last 3 years, no discharge over 1,000 gallons, or 2 discharges each of 42 gallons over the last 12 months, not including the releases that are due to acts of war, natural disasters, or terrorism. The third and final type of plan is a Tier 2 Professional Engineer Certified Plan. For this to apply to your facility, you must have at least 10,000 gallons of oil storage capacity on site, only in containers over 55 gallons or more. No discharges to navigable waters in the last 3 years, no discharges over 1,000 gallons, or 2 discharges each of 42 gallons over the last 12 months. Once again, not including releases that are due to acts of war, natural disaster, or terrorism. If you fit into this category, a professional engineer must sign off on these plans. These Tier 1 and Tier 1 and Tier 2 plans are kept on site, as we'll go over momentarily. But when I worked at Station 21, which is in West Charlotte and houses the bulk storage facility in Charlotte, we saw these plans a lot. Most of the companies are real good about sending these Tier 1 and Tier 2 plans to the first responders that will be responding to their facility should a spill occur. They have a lot of helpful information on them, which we're getting ready to go over. And they're very important to first responders, along with the hazmat coordinator for the area. So what's included in the SPCC plan? Well, the owner, location, contact information of the facility, along with any pathways such as streams, creeks, or lakes that may lead to navigable water. The location of the tanks, type of product in the tanks, and the storage capacity of the tanks on site. Emergency contact information, such as local emergency responder numbers, the state spill contact, the EPA spill contact, and the cleanup contact, because most likely it will be an outside private contractor that will be responsible for the cleanup should a spill occur. Procedures that relate to fueling and filling if a bulk storage facility, such as what's located in West Charlotte, where there are millions of gallons of oil, jet fuel, and diesel, kerosene, that are transferred every day to tractor-trailer trucks that take it to your local gas station. Any current practices for preventing a spill, secondary containment areas around tanks, how areas are secured, such as locks, security guards, and training for on-site personnel. It also asks that you list any improvements that are needed to the facility, the corrective actions that are needed, and a timeline to get those fixed. Inspection information relating to the tanks, lines, and fuel pumps, along with training records for personnel regarding that they've seen the plan, they understand the plan, and other documents that are needed per the facility. The second type of plan we'll go over is the facility response plan. Now this differs from the SPCC as it focuses more on the response aspect should a spill occur. The facility response plan is the way for the facility to prepare to respond to a worst-case oil discharge. Facilities that could cause substantial harm to the environment by discharging oil into navigable waters or adjoining shorelines are required to submit a facility response plan. The need for the facility response plan can be done through a self-assessment by the facility or by the staff of the EPA. So, who's required to have an FRP? Well, if you have substantial harm or you meet the substantial harm category, you're required for your facility to have an FRP. This includes a facility that has over total oil capacity of 42,000 or more gallons and transfers oil over the water or to and from a vessel. It also includes a facility that has a total oil capacity of 1 million or more gallons and meets one of the additional criteria. Doesn't have sufficient secondary containment for the above ground storage, is located where a discharge could cause injury to fish, wildlife, or the environment, is located where a discharge could shut down a public drinking water intake, and a facility that within the last 5 years has had a discharge of 10,000 gallons or more. So, the second type of plan that facilities may have to have would be considered if their facility is could have a significant and a substantial harm. A significant and substantial harm plan looks at the criteria for substantial harm that we just talked about. So it has to meet the criteria above. And then looks at the age of the storage tanks at the facility, the transfer operations that the facility uses, the oil storage capacity for this facility and the tank, any spill or discharge history and the frequency that those spills or discharges occur, the lack of secondary containment around their tanks, location of drinking water intake, the effects on the potential effects on wildlife and the environment, the potential effects on public health. And so those facilities that pose a significant and substantial harm must have their plans approved by the regional administrator of the EPA. If they only produce just a substantial harm, then they should be able to self-certify those plans and do their own self-assessment. So, what's included in the facility response plan? Well, first off, an emergency response action plan. How they're going to respond should an emergency occur at the facility. This is an action plan that can be used by members of the facility to initiate a response effort along with cleanup. Any facility information, including the type of the facility, the location, contact information for the owner-operator, or any managerial staff that may need to be contacted. Information regarding the emergency equipment and personnel. Evacuation information along with evacuation plans. Potential spill information along with past spill information. And then information for small, medium, and worst case discharge scenarios and the response actions for each. A small discharge scenario would be a spill up to 2,100 gallons. A medium spill would be 2,100 to 36,000 gallons, or 10% of the biggest tank, whichever is less. And of course, the worst case scenario being that the amount of the discharge is the largest tank on the facility site that is over 36,000 gallons. The FRP will also include information about any discharge detection equipment, information about the response, containment, and disposal of waste that is a result of the spill, records of site training exercises and drills for personnel, site drawings such as where tanks are located on the facility, along with any drainage areas where product may go should a spill occur, And then other facility information, for example, emergency shutoffs, security measures such as security guards, alarms, locks. And then, very last, the plan must include a response plan code. It's interesting to note that if a facility is required to have both an SPCC and a FRP, facility owners or operators may use the applicable sections in the SPCC in the FRP. However, it's important to remember that these documents are two different types of plans. Therefore, they must be kept on site as separate documents. You can use information in the FRP from the SPCC. However, these documents need to be kept in separate binders at the facility. Here are my references that I use for my information. Should you have any questions, feel free to contact me on the discussion board, and I will answer those as they come in. Thank you very much.